something else that we need to?
I think it said that it was recorded going over it if anybody had questions and whatnot, and then just go through the quiz.
Okay, cool. I'm still trying to figure out how the course is set up. I joined the class later, so I'm a little confused. But yeah, and did you have a chance?
Have you gotten into all the mind tap stuff, or whatever the
homework?
Yeah.
Yeah. I finally figured that out. Thank goodness. Okay, cool. Yeah. So have you had a chance to look at the quiz study guide?
No, but I've been going through the quiz. I was just seeing what was on there. And then just from the readings, and then from the previous preparation. I don't know if you saw that. They had a preparation homework last week, like a math prep and all that. But have you gotten into the quiz yet?
Well, I printed it off just to have it in front of me, and I've skimmed it, but I haven't really. But yeah,
it's not too bad. I mean, we can just rock through it pretty quick, I think.
Yeah. Cool. So should we just go with the first one? Start with number 1 then?
Yeah. I put down rely upon one another for the goods and services we consume.
Okay. I put that one as well.
Okay.
And as far as the graphs go, for number 2, I had no idea.
So on these,
yeah,
when you break it down, it's because the right one doesn't even matter. The left one's the only one we're going off of.
Yeah.
And it's a half hour per purse. So we know that if you look at the graph, you see if Hosni makes 10 purses, they make 0 wallets. So we know that if 10 purses take up the full amount of time, then we know 5 hours is the full, the most amount of time it would take. That's how much time they have to make a purse, right? I mean, to make all the purses, sorry. So I put 5 hours for it, just because I figured 10 purses, half hour each. That's 5 hours if they only make purses.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Because that's your maximum amount of time. So then, no matter what, that we know that she has 5 hours to spend. So then we know that 5 hours is split between as it falls along that curve. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So for 3, if the production possibilities frontiers shown are each for 1 year of working, then which of the following combinations of jackets and sweaters could Lisa and Bryce together produce in the given year? Okay.
So this one was kind of tricky, just because I'm not very good at reading the graphs on the in-between lines,
Yeah.
So just trying to kind of gauge where, if Lisa makes 1 sweater, that ends up being, I think 12, jackets. So it's kind of hard to gauge. But
yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Shoot.
So I had, because I looked at if I kind of was playing with the combos of mins and maxes and all that. And I mean, if you look at, if Bryce makes 1 sweater, it looks to be like he would be able to make 6 jackets. And then if he making 6 jackets, and then Lisa just makes jackets, she'd make 16. So that would be 22 jackets, and then 1 sweater. So I put 1 sweater, 22 jackets was the only combo I could figure out that worked out of all those answers.
Okay. I honestly don't understand graphs enough to disagree with you, so.
Cool. Well, we'll see if it's right then.
Yeah, whenever I was doing the because they had us, or for that homework, for last week's homework, it was refresher, right? To get a feel for graphs. I was just like yelling at my computer because I did not understand like what was going on. And then 5 minutes into it, I already signed up for a tutor. So I was like, I can't, not this semester. So
How far along are you?
I graduated in April.
Nice, me too.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, I don't really want to have to retake this class. So, but, and are you in Rexburg or?
No, I'm in Boise.
You're in Boise? Okay, cool. All right, so for the next one, assume that Andrea and Paul can switch between producing wheat and producing beef at a constant rate. Which of the following combinations of wheat and beef could Andrea produce in an 8-hour day? Okay. So minutes to make one. So is it saying that it takes her 30 minutes to make 1 bushel of wheat?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got 480 minutes in that 8-hour block. So then if we divide by the 30 minutes, if she just did wheat, she could make 16 bushels of wheat. And if she did just beef, she could make 32 pounds of beef. So in an 8-hour day, we know the first one's wrong because that would take 16 hours. 9 times 30, 270. 5 times 75. So the second one won't work. And so the only one out of the 4 of those that I'm getting would be the 7 bushels of wheat and 15 pounds of beef. I think everything else is over.
Okay, so divided by. Wait, so can you like walk me through how you got that one?
Yeah. So I took the 8-hour block.
Yeah.
And I multiplied it out to get it to minutes, so then I could just kind of gauge it a little easier.
Yeah.
And then I just went through the lineup because I realized I took my maxes. I probably didn't need to do this, but I got my maximums first.
Yeah.
So if she only produced beef, she could make 32 pounds of beef in 8 hours. So I just divided the time by the total time allowed, and then 16 bushels of wheat in the same amount of time because it takes twice as long to make a bushel of wheat.
Yeah.
So then the first one, you look at it, and that's 16 bushels of wheat and 32 pounds of beef. You can't have both of those because those are both the maximum outputs. So then the next one, I just multiplied the 9 by the 30, and so let's see, 9 times 30. So then it was 270 plus 375 because it was 25 pounds of beef times 15 minutes per pound.
Uh-huh.
And then it was just over, you add that up, it's like 645. So I just went through each line and did that. And every single one of them was over except for the 7 bushels and 15 pounds of beef.
Okay. That makes sense. So see. All right, and so for question 5, the fact that the line slopes downward reflects the fact that, and so this is about Brazil productions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with cashews and peanuts. Um, for Brazil, it is more costly to produce peanuts than it is cashews. Brazil will produce more peanuts and fewer cashews as time goes on. Brazil faces a trade-off between producing cashews and peanuts, and Brazil should specialize in producing cashews. Wouldn't it be so? Hmm. So I'm assuming it's like per 8 peanuts that's produced, only like 240 cashews are produced.
So it's actually a trade-off.
Uh-huh.
When you get up the line like this, so with these graphs, it's showing maximum quantities, and that's that production frontier.
Uh-huh.
So if you follow the line, that's their maximum. So if they produce 8 units of peanuts, then they're actually producing 0 units of cashews. If they're producing 240
Oh,
units of
yeah,
cashews, they're producing 0 peanuts.
yeah.
So it's the downward line actually reflects a trade-off
Okay.
that they have to sacrifice one for the other.
So then that would be C.
Yep.
Yeah. I see. You're so smart.
I don't know about that.
All right, so with Alice and Betty's production, if possible, A represents Alice's current production and B represents Betty's current production. Under what circumstances can both Alice and Betty benefit from specialization and trade? Um, Alice produces more pizzas, and Betty produces more lemonade. Alice produces more lemonade, and Betty produces more pizza. Both Alice and Betty produce only pizzas, and there are no circumstances under which Alice and Betty can benefit from specialization and trade. Um,
So if you look at it,
uh-huh.
because if they specialized, so if Betty only made lemonade and Alice only made pizza, Alice could make 200 pizzas, Betty could make 450 lemonades. But then if you flipped it, Alice can make 400 lemonades, Betty could make 300 pizzas. So Betty's way more efficient than Alice. Um,
Um,
so I don't think I don't know if there's a circumstance where they both could benefit because I feel like I guess under that situation,
so Alice makes 100 pizzas, 200, 200 to 275. So are you saying that it would be D?
I think so. I'm looking over to see if I'm trying to figure out if there's a. I'm looking through the readings real quick and seeing if they've got some deal they want us to understand that I'm not understanding. So it's saying gains come from the ability to produce a good with fewer inputs than the other producer.
Uh-huh.
So there wouldn't be any gains for, no matter what, there wouldn't be any gains for Betty because it doesn't do her any good
To specialize in one. Okay. So then that would be the D then?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Okay. So Ken and Tracy are two woodworkers who both make tables and chairs. In 1 month, Ken can make 3 tables or 18 chairs, whereas Tracy can make 8 tables or 24 chairs. Given this, we know that the opportunity cost is cost of 1 chair is what the? Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Is wait a minute, I have to write this out.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I always have to write out my fractions.
Okay, so given this, we know the opportunity cost of 1 chair is I got B. Wait. Yeah, I don't know, actually. I got either B or D.
I had A, the 1/6 of a table and a 1/3 of a table.
Oh wait,
For every
I just read the answer wrong. Yeah, that's what I got too.
Cool.
Actually, okay. All right, and so assume that Japan and Korea can switch between producing cars and producing airplanes at a constant rate. And the opportunity cost, okay, so it'll be the same method.
Yep.
Okay. So are you doing airplanes over cars?
Because you're breaking it down to 1 car.
Okay. Okay. Over. Did you get A?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Sweet. So suppose Arturo is willing to trade 6 burritos to Dina, for each 10 tacos that Dina produces and sends to Arturo. Which of the following combinations of tacos and burritos could Dina then consume, assuming Dina specializes in taco production and Arturo specializes in burrito production?
10 tacos. Let's go 400.
Wait, so which of the combinations of tacos? So I don't want to let this go. Shoot. Oh, you're fine. I keep forgetting. You're fine. You'll just be recorded in this live. Have fun.
Thanks. I will. My temple recommendation.
I'm not sure if I understand how to do this one, to be honest.
So if they're specializing, so then you're gonna max it out. So Dina is gonna make only tacos. Arturo is gonna make 300 burritos, and so then you're just doing a kind of a. I don't know if there's any better way to do it than just kind of trial and error, work your way through. So I started with, there's going to be 400 tacos in circulation and 300 burritos. So if she gives him 100 tacos, he's going to return 60 burritos, and that happened to be one of the answers was the first thing I came to, 300 tacos and 60 burritos.
Oh, I see.
So because he's giving her 6 for every 10, so by specializing, she produces more tacos and then can trade off and make burritos back.
Yeah. Oh, so let me just see this real quick. So 300 divided by 10 equals. Okay, I see.
Yeah, none of the other ones. All the other ones are just off by a little bit.
All right. And just to keep going, suppose that a worker of Fredonia can produce either 6 units of corn or 2 units of wheat per year, and a worker in Sylvania can produce either 2 units of corn or 6 units of wheat per year. Each nation has 10 workers. Without trade, Fredonia produces and consumes 30 units of corn and 10 units of wheat per year. Sylvania produces and consumes 10 units of corn and 30 units of wheat. Suppose that trade is then initiated between the two countries, and Fredonia sends 30 units of corn to Slovenia. In exchange for 30 units of wheat, Fredonia will now be able to consume a maximum of how many units? Oh my gosh, there's so many numbers.
Yeah. Okay, produces and consumes 30 units of 10. So if I'm reading it right, the way it's set up right now, because they have 10 workers, each can produce either 6 units of corn or 2 units of wheat a year for Fredonia. So what they've got right now is 5 guys are making corn, 5 guys are making wheat because they've got 30 and 10. So instead, because they're going to make the trade and send 30 units of corn to Slovenia for 30 units of wheat, they specialize. They have all 10 guys make corn. So they have 60 units of corn to trade. And then they get 30 units of wheat back. So then they'll have 60 units of corn. They'll end up with 30 units of corn and 30 units of wheat because of the trade.
Oh, I see. Okay, so then the answer would be A.
Yep.
Cool. What's your major?
Business management.
Oh, okay.
What's yours?
I'm an international studies major. So this is
Cool.
this is required for some reason. All right, so assume that the farmer and the rancher can switch between producing pork and producing tomatoes at a constant rate. Assume that the farmer and the rancher each has 24 labor hours available. If each person spends all his time producing the good in which he has a comparative advantage and trade takes place at a price of 1 pound of pork for 2 pounds of tomatoes, then so spends all his time producing the goods at which his comparative advantage. So as far as like comparative advantage goes, what's that? The farmer, wait. Does the farmer have the comparative advantage in tomatoes, if I read that right?
Mm-hmm. It looks like it.
Okay. Just to make sure I understand that.
The chart's kind of confusing because it's saying it takes 3 hours. Okay, so 8 times 3 is 24. So yeah, so then if you look on the right, you can see that the farmer makes 8 pounds in 24 hours of tomatoes.
Yeah.
The rancher makes 6 pounds of pork. Then 1 pound of pork for 2 pounds of tomatoes. So then if the farmer gave him a pound and got 2 pounds back, the rancher gave him a pound, then instead of having 6 and 6 and 4 and 8, what they would have is 5 and 6 and 5 and 8, 6, 5. And 6, 1. So, like, it looks like the rancher would lose out because by the time he'd end up with 6 and 0. So the rancher would end up on top. The farmer. So the farmer will not gain from the trade. He breaks even. He ends up at 2 and 4. But the rancher would gain from the trade because he'll end up at 4 and 4 instead of at 3 and 3 if he split his time between tomatoes and pork.
Okay. I see. All right, so we're almost got kind of. All right, so 12. If Hosney and Merv switch.
Man, they pick some crazy names for these things.
Yeah, why can't they just keep it with like Steve and John or something? But if Hosni and Merv switch from each person dividing her time equally between the production of purses and wallets, to each person spending all of her time producing the good in which she has a comparative advantage, then total production of purses will increase by 2, 3, 5, or 10. Okay, so all Uh, so the first girl could either make 10 purses or 8 wallets, like if they did if she did her max right, and then Merv could either do 4 purses or 6 wallets if she did her max. So if each person divided her time equally between the production of purses and wallets, each person spending all her time producing the good in which she has an imperative part, the total production of. So I don't know if I'm understanding the question. So this is like if they just specialize in their comparative advantage.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out because right now, if he is 10 per day or 8 per day. Or So I just used as long as the number's constant, I think it's okay. I assumed because it's a day, 8 hours in a day, maximum production.
Uh-huh.
If you divide 8 hours by their maximum production for purses, 10 purses, it comes out to 0.8 purses, 0.8 hours per purse. And then the other one is 8 purses for a day, or I'm sorry, 8 wallets. So then it's 1 hour per wallet, where then if you compare it, her competitor Merv, or Mervy, whatever, it's 2 hours per purse and 1.33 per wallet.
Uh-huh.
So doesn't really answer the question.
Yeah.
We did the 10. This is kind of a weird one because I don't know what we're basing the increase in production by,
Uh-huh.
because there's not really I guess if we said if they split halftime in an 8-hour day, let's do that. 8. 40. I'm gonna say 5, because if you break it down and just assume that they can make however many purses they can make in half of a day if they both were splitting their time equally between, because it's saying if they divided their time equally between the production of purses and wallets,
Uh-huh.
then you're gonna come out with 5.2 purses. So then if you specialize, then they're gonna get 10 purses made, so it goes up by 5.
Okay. I see. Kind of. Go back. All right, so with 12 or 13, excuse me, assume the farmer and the rancher can switch between producing pork and producing tomatoes at a constant rate. The farmer should specialize in the production of one of the below. So,
I think it's just from
which from a constant rate. Oh, excuse me.
I'm thinking, I mean, looking at it, I think that it would just be that they should just specialize in tomatoes and the rancher should specialize in pork, because the farmer's going to be better off. He's going to end up with 8 pounds of tomatoes compared to 4 pounds of pork if he specialized in pork.
Uh-huh.
If he specialized in neither, then he would end up with 4 pounds and 2 pounds, where they could end up with 6 and 8. 3 and 3. Let's do this. 3, 9, 4. Yeah, so if they both split and didn't specialize, then they would end up with 5 pounds and 7 pounds. But if they specialize, they end up with 6 pounds and 8 pounds. So it's more efficient for the farmer to specialize in tomatoes and the rancher to specialize in pork, no matter what.
Okay. That sounds good to me. Cool. So for 14, and yeah, so 14 says, assume that Maya and Miguel can switch between producing mixers and producing toasters at a constant rate. Maya has the absolute advantage in the production of
She's got it in both goods, the absolute advantage and the comparative advantage. Because the absolute advantage is the ability to produce the good using fewer inputs than another producer. So by being able to produce, needing less time to make it, so it'd be so the comparative advantage would be the lower opportunity cost. So it's you got to identify their opportunity cost for the mixers and for the toasters.
yeah.
How much it's going to cost them in relation to what they could have made with, as far as the other one goes. So if they go,
Oh, okay, I see. So for one mixer, it takes her 8 hours.
so we know that they've got absolute advantage in the production of both goods. And the comparative advantage is going to be
Uh,
I think it's the production of toasters because it's For every one, they're missing out on 0.625 toasters. For every one mixer Miguel makes, he's missing out on 0.5 toasters. So his opportunity cost is lower. So then with toasters, 4, 2 toaster, 1.6. Yeah, I'm just going to go with that. Both goods, it's absolute advantage and a comparative advantage in the production of toasters.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna go to my tutor tomorrow with these questions. So I could like understand them better, so I could be more of a help for next time. So total output in total output in an economy increases when each person specializes because there's less competition for the same resources. Each person spends more time producing that product in which he or she has a comparative advantage. A wider variety of products will be produced within each country due to specialization. Government necessarily plays a larger role in the economy due to specialization. I don't think it would be D. Just to eliminate answers. I don't think it would be A either.
I agree. Yeah, because that's kind of like a vague answer. Like, you know, it's they could be making products that use the same resources.
Yeah. I'm not sure between B and C.
I'm thinking B just because C, no matter what, the products are going to be produced. You know, because they've got their trade-off. I can make this or I can make this.
Yeah.
So by specializing, they're choosing to make this, but that doesn't mean that this, you know, that if they didn't specialize, both products would be getting made no matter what. It's just people would be making overlap on the same product. So by specializing, people are going to produce more because they're going to look at the opportunity cost. Say, you know, I can make 3 chairs for every one of this table. I'm just going to make chairs, and they're going to produce a lot more of what, you know, compared to what if everybody just tried to make a balance.
Okay. All right, so we just have 4 more to go. So for 16, Arturo and Dina would not be able to gain from trade if Dina's opportunity cost of 1 taco changed to. Wait.
So right now it's she makes 400 tacos or she makes 200 burritos. The cost of every taco is a half a burrito. So it's already at a half a burrito. So if it went up from there, because he's at, for every 1 taco, it's 3/4 of a burrito. So if it went up above, not be able to gain from trade. I think it's 2 is like for one burrito. I think 2 burritos is like huge, but it's 3/4 it would just be a break even, so they still would benefit by trading with each other. 4/3 would be above, so then she'd be the opportunity cost would be a third higher, so it'd be like what's that, like 500, or it'd be 4/3 of that.
So for like B, which is 3/4, they break even. So would that be because like so technically if they break even, they're not gaining from it.
Yeah, I think because you still would, even if you like if both people, I guess if they have the same curve, they wouldn't gain from it.
With 3/4 burrito?
Yeah, I think that that might be because their trade-off curve would be the exact same at 3/4. So yeah, I think you're right.
Okay.
Shot.
What was that?
If it's worth a shot, we'll give it.
Yeah.
See what it comes up.
We'll see. All right. So by definition, exports. Oh, this is easy. This is. Oh wait, never mind. Oh yeah. Exports are goods produced domestically and sold abroad.
Heck yeah.
Okay. So assume that England and Spain can switch between producing cheese and producing bread at a constant rate. England should export. Okay.
They should export. I think they should export. Let's see, 20.
Well, I mean, just from my first glance of looking at the chart, I would say export cheese and import bread. Maybe actually. Oh wait, hold on. Never mind.
Yeah, because that's the thing. So if you look at it like if they're going to export and import, then you would say, okay, so if they're going to specialize in cheese, they can produce 40 cheese.
Yeah.
And then if they import bread, Spain's only making 5 bread every 40 hours. So they would be 40 cheese, 5 bread if they imported all of it. And if Spain imported so it'd be 30 and 5. 25. I almost think they should just export both goods and import neither good because.
Okay. That was like my second choice. So sweet.
But I don't know. We might be missing something too.
Yeah, I have no idea. Okay, sweet. So suppose that a worker in Boatland can produce either 5 units of wheat or 25 units of fish per year, and a worker in farmland can produce either 25 units of wheat or 5 units of fish per year. There are 30 workers in each country. No trade occurs between the two countries. Boatland produces and consumes 75 units of wheat and 325 units of fish per year, while this is one question. while farmland produces and consumes 375 units of wheat and 75 units of fish per year. If trade were to occur, Boatland would trade 90 units of fish to farmland in exchange for 80 units of wheat. If Boatland now completely specializes in fish production, how many units of fish could it now consume, along with the 80 units of imported wheats? Oh shoot. Actually.
On that one, you just take the 25 units, right, and just multiply it by the 30 workers because they're specializing in fish.
Uh-huh.
So you get 750, and then you subtract out your 90 units of fish that they're trading for the wheat. So you get 660 is what I got.
So D.
Yep.
All right, and with the last 120, Colombia should specialize in the production of coffee or soybeans. Colombia.
So it looks like they can make, if you look at their trade-off, they make a lot more coffee for every soybean that they make.
Yeah.
So for every pound of soybeans, it costs them, for every half pound of soybeans, it costs them a pound of coffee. So they should probably specialize in coffee and then import soybeans.
Cool. Oh, I see. Okay. And did you look at that PowerPoint that for as far as the individual preparation goes?
Yeah, I've got it up right now. I've been referring to it periodically, like the one about comparative advantage in trade and opportunity costs and all that.
Because all I did was read the textbook. I didn't read the PowerPoint. Because
I like the PowerPoint. I like better than the textbook reading. I'm using the PowerPoint more than the reading just on this.
Yeah.
All right, I'll submit it and see how we do here. 16 out of 20.
Did it say which ones we missed?
No, it doesn't give it to me.
Oh, okay.
It says once the due date passes, it'll let you see it.
Oh, okay. That's not bad for our first quiz.
Yeah, not bad for first go round.
Sweet. Now that I know, I think I'll have a better understanding for preparation for next week. So I've never taken a class like this before. I don't know if you have how it's set up. So our meetings are Tuesdays from 6 to 10, or that's the window. So is that just so we don't necessarily have to meet all those 4 hours, right?
No.
We just pick a time that works best between all of us. Okay, cool. Sweet. So hopefully we get the rest of our group for next week.
That would be good.
Yeah. More minds.
Does 7 o'clock work for you? I'm usually home. I try to get off work at 5:30, but I work at a motorcycle shop, so it's starting to get busy. And so sometimes, tonight, I didn't get off work until 6.
Yeah.
I didn't get home until 6:30.
Yeah, 7. Yeah, 7's fine for me. I just needed a plan because what I was really confused because I was in between those two email groups. And so I'll just
Yeah.
like ignore the other group. But yeah, so like, I thought it was like at 6. So I was planning 6. And then when it was pushed to 7, I was like, okay, this kind of sucks. But yeah, 7 typically, like if I have it set in my planner for 7, like that's totally fine.
Cool. So I say, I'm going to stop the broadcast real quick.